Okay, we're unpacking the ultimate heist today. And get this, it doesn't take place in a bank vault or a casino. We're talking about breaking into the human mind. The stakes here, literally the fabric of reality itself. Let's get right into this explainer. To untangle this incredibly complex narrative, we're looking at the art of extraction, building the Inception team, the rules of the dream world, the three-layer heist, falling into limbo, and finally, waking up to reality. Part 1, the art of extraction. So Dom Cobb operates in this incredibly high-stakes world of subconscious espionage. It's a world where secrets are locked deep away in the mind, and specialized thieves know exactly how to break in. Normally, extraction is the standard trade, right? When you're asleep, your conscious defenses drop, which makes your thoughts super vulnerable to theft. But the whole inciting incident of our story is this totally impossible request from a powerful businessman named Saito. He doesn't want to just steal an idea. He wants to plant one. That is Inception. Saito needs Cobb to plant an idea into the mind of Robert Fisher, the heir to a massive energy empire, basically forcing him to dissolve his own father's company. As Cobb says, what is the most resilient parasite? An idea. Now, for Inception to actually work, the idea can't just be some dry business strategy. Our minds naturally trace the genesis of a foreign idea and instantly reject it. So, to make Fisher break up that empire, the idea has to be stripped all the way down to a basic, positive emotional core. It has to tap into his extremely complicated relationship with his dying father. That way, Fisher genuinely believes he came up with the idea all on his own. Which brings us right into part 2, building the Inception team. Because pulling off this impossible inception, it requires the absolute perfect crew. And they have to do all of this on a 747 during a 10-hour flight from Sydney to LA. So Cobb is our extractor, leading the charge. He recruits Ariadne, the architect, to design the insane physical architecture of the dream mazes. Then there's Eames, the forger, whose job is to impersonate Fisher's godfather inside the dream to manipulate him. Yusuf is the chemist. He formulates the incredibly powerful sedatives they need to stay under. Arthur is the point man, managing all the operational details. And finally, Saito, the employer, who actually insists on tagging along like a tourist just to verify the job gets done. Part 3, rules of the dream world. You see, surviving in a shared dream environment requires strict physical and mental rules. If you break them, the mind's projections will literally tear you apart. Since dreamers are building these worlds from pure imagination, it is dangerously easy to lose your grip on what's real and what's a dream. That's where a totem comes in. It's a unique, highly personal object, like Arthur's loaded die or Cobb's spinning top. Only the user knows its exact weight and balance, which verifies if they're in the real world. A kick, on the flip side, is the physical escape route. Because your inner ear function isn't affected by the sedative, a synchronized feeling of falling or tipping jolts you awake, pulling you right out of the dream state. Now, I want you to keep this number in mind, 20. In a dream, your mind functions faster, which means time feels so much slower. Use of specific compound accelerates brain function to about 20 times normal, and when you go into a dream within a dream, that effect compounds dramatically. The stakes literally multiply on every single level. Just look at how this compounds into a crazy timeline. 10 hours of real-world flight time translates to a whole week on level 1. Drop a level deeper and suddenly it's 6 months. Hit level 3 and they're looking at 10 solid years inside the mind. It's a massive stretching of time that makes this mission technically possible, but also highly, highly perilous. Moving right along to part 4, the 3-layer heist. To plant this idea deep enough into Fisher's subconscious, the team basically has to navigate a nested Russian doll of dreams. To trick Fisher, they map out a precise 3-layer structure. Level 1 is Yusuf's dream of a rainy downtown city where they actually kidnap Fisher to introduce the idea of a hidden safe. Level 2 is Arthur's hotel dream. This is where Cobb pulls the Mr. Charles gambit. He literally tells Fisher he's dreaming, but convinces him that he, Cobb, is a subconscious security agent. It totally tricks Fisher into turning against his own mind. Finally, level 3 is Eames's snowy fortress complex. Here, Fisher has to break into a vault to find emotional reconciliation with his dying father. But, no plan survives contact with the target. The huge unforeseen variable here is that Fisher's subconscious has been militarized. It's been trained to defend against extractors. So his mind reacts exactly like white blood cells attacking an infection. It manifests as this heavily armed private army that ambushes the team and actually shoots Saito. And this adds a horrifying layer of tension because under this heavy sedative, dying in the dream doesn't mean you just wake up. It means you become permanently trapped. Which takes us to part 5, falling into limbo. This explores what happens when things go terribly wrong and the mind is pushed way too far. If you die under this specific sedation, you don't wake up, you drop straight into limbo. We're talking about unconstructed, raw, infinite dream space. A mind can be trapped down there for decades until it just entirely loses touch with reality. And this terrifying possibility becomes an immediate tragedy for the team when Cobb's volatile projection of his dead wife, Mal, shows up and completely ruins the heist by shooting and killing Fisher on level 3. The thing is, Mal keeps sabotaging Cobb because of their deeply tragic shared past. Years ago, the two of them experimented with deep dreaming and actually got trapped in limbo for 50 years. To convince her to wake up, Cobb performed the very first Inception on her. He planted the idea that her world wasn't real. But when they finally woke up, that idea just kept growing like a cancer. Mal still completely believed reality was a dream, ultimately jumping to her death to try and wake up, framing Cobb in the process. His crippling guilt over doing that to her now violently manifests in his own subconscious. You're waiting for a train that will take you far away. You know where you hope this train will take you, but you can't know for sure. This haunting motif echoes throughout the entire story. It's the exact phrase Cobb used to convince Mal to kill herself in limbo so they could wake up. With Fisher now dead and lost in limbo, Cobb has to face his guilt. He has to let go of this projection of Mal and ride that proverbial train down into the infinite raw subconscious with Ariadne to rescue their target. And finally, part 6, waking up to reality. This is where the intricate, ticking clock mechanics of the dream world violently collide with pure emotional catharsis. Because they missed the very first kick, the team has to rapidly improvise. To wake up and escape the collapsing dream layers before time runs out, they synchronize a breathtaking series of events. Yusuf drives the van off a bridge in level 1. That freefall allows Arthur to blow the elevator in level 2. Eames detonates the snow complex in level 3, while Ariadne uses a defibrillator in limbo. All these synchronized kicks ripple upward through the layers to pull them back up to safety. But before they can ride that kick, the inception actually has to happen. Down in the vault on level 3, Fisher opens the safe and finds his dying father. His entire life, Fisher believed his father's final word to him was simply that he was disappointed in him. But through the inception, Fisher's subconscious rewrites that painful memory. His father tells him he was disappointed that Robert tried to be him. It's this profound, positive emotional release that successfully gets Fisher to dissolve the Empire so he can finally become his own man. Now, while the rest of the team rides the kick to safety, Cobb makes the ultimate sacrifice. He stays behind in limbo to find Saito, who died from his gunshot wound earlier. Cobb wanders for what feels like an eternity until he finds an aged, regret-filled Saito. He repeats those fateful words to remind the old man of their arrangement, taking a massive leap of faith to wake them both up. Also, Saito can make the single phone call that finally clears Cobb's name. And it works! Cobb wakes up on the airplane, clears customs, and finally reunites with his children. He spins his totem on the table just to check if it's reality, but he walks away to embrace his kids before seeing if it topples. Did the top fall, or did Cobb simply stop looking because he had finally found his reality?